Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Court of Swords. 37.
Someday you'll be able to say that without the sound of a question at the end.
Well, it's because I never look it up.
I think it's 37. I think you're right. I think
it's
honestly, just go with your heart, man. You're usually right.
It's 37. I'm right. We did it. We nailed it.
Go.
We'll see you next week for 38. The joke still works after 5 years.
It does. It'll never get old.
Never get old.
The fake end of the broadcast.
Yeah, the fake
I did
end
one
of
just the other day. It's so satisfying.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Guys, I'm in the headphone business right now, looking for some new headphones. I don't want to take them off because these fucking knockoff Chinese bullshit head things that I got just suck. They are the worst replacements I've ever seen in the world.
Oh, boo.
They came with this tool. Like, what is
nice.
that?
It's for wedging under the edge of the headphone thing to pry it out. It's like a bike. If you ever you would know. Have you ever replaced a bike tube on a tire like of a bike? You take the tube out of it. No. Okay. Same tool. They're the same. It's the same object.
All right. Well,
why are you looking at me like that? Well, you never take a tube out of a bike?
I think he's maybe he's looking at you like that because he has.
No.
Yeah, I'm not really.
Because I don't even know how to ride a bike, Adam.
You don't know how? Did you?
You don't know how to ride a bike?
I never learned how to ride a bike. I fell off once and I looked at the bike and said, "Fuck you," and then I went back inside and played video games like a goddamn true nerd. All right.
Wow.
No one has time for bike riding unless it's in your house, hooked up to a monitor, with someone on the other end of that monitor telling you what to do. That's the way you ride
and
bikes.
it's virtual reality.
I haven't gotten that far. I'm working on it, though. I'm working on it. I never learned how to ride a bike.
I'm sure there's a bike riding simulator game out there. There's got to be.
I have that. Yeah, well, I have that. You can hook up a VR to it, but you have to, like, hack it. It's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could tour the streets of Venice already.
Oh.
It's just on a monitor. It's not the same. Wow. It's kind of lame when you like look at the monitor, like, "Hey, I'm in Venice," and then you look to your left, and it's like, "Oh fuck, I'm still in my house," right? Like, I want to have that full head-shaped VR experience, but I haven't gotten there yet. It's a lot of work. Like, VR is just, they should really put on the boxes of any VR equipment they sell a little asterisk next to VR, and then the asterisk says it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because that's what VR is in a nutshell. To try to get it working on any level. It's
definitely a lot of work trying to, like, especially if you're trying to stream or do anything like that, with it.
Yeah.
A little less of a headache probably if you're just trying to play.
Yeah.
But
maybe.
The first time you don't mind is you're excited about it. Like, ooh, I'm going to try VR first time. You do all this work and you realize, oh my God, I have to do this every time I want to play this. All this special setup, a special way to hook everything up.
Yeah.
Just to play it.
Yep.
And we get motion sickness after an hour.
Yep. It's a nightmare. So I have to ask, what headphones? You guys all look like you're wearing the exact same headphones.
We are.
Yeah.
What are you on? What are you wearing?
ATH M50Xs.
They're the best for the price. They're
there.
You
can't beat them.
What do those run?
$250 Canadian. I don't know. They're in American. Probably
Cheaper
$10.
than that, yeah. 150.
Okay.
Yeah.
160. I'm looking it up right now.
I'm looking at the Hi-Fi-Man HE400S full-size planar headphones. Only 3 left in stock. Amazon's really fucked up that they put that on there.
You can get them Prime right now. Actually, if you live in a Prime Now area, you can get them Prime now. You could have one by the end of the show.
I could, eventually. These ones won't get here till Thursday, these Hi-Fi-Mans. Do you guys know what... Yeah. Let's give some free advertising because I love doing that. Do you guys know what the wirecutter.com is? Have you ever heard of this website?
Yes.
So the Wirecutter, for those that don't know, is basically, it's like a review aggregate site, but not like it is, but it isn't, because they don't like, it's not like a Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic. It's like one guy, and then they have like my funniest one is the best condoms. And then it's like, after our 60 hours of reviewing the condoms, we've decided that these are the best. And I'm like, wait a minute, how does that work? You just sat there and chugged straight for 60 hours.
Condom reviews, which the rest of the world calls fucking.
Yeah. I just thought
after extensive research.
I mean, that's how they open up all of their articles. Like this one is for the headphones. If a serious music lover asked me what open back audiophile headphones to buy and wanted to spend less than $500, I'd recommend the Hi-Fi-Man HE400S. These aren't cheap yet emerged as the professional. When our panel of audio professionals spent 60 hours evaluating 29 open back and semi-open back headphones, nearly every model available for less than $500. So they've kind of sold me already on these headphones. I haven't bit the bullet yet. The HD 600s they're great. I love them, but I've had them for 4 years now, and those ear pads just wear down, man. I got a big ass head. There's a lot of pressure going on those ear pads after 4 years. Max, you look like you wanted to say something there. You stuttered.
No, I'm testing audio levels while muted, actually. I'm not in my office. I'm in my living room.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. You can't tell because of the magic of, do I sound normal? Like, does it sound weird?
Yeah,
To
you sound
me,
great.
it sounds weird, but it could be because I haven't had this microphone and things like that set
You
up.
sound great coming through my fucked up headphones of ear pads.
You sound fine.
As long as I sound normal, it's fine. It just fucks with me. Like when I change my audio for a bit, like, you know, because I've been doing like VR shit, recording and like, you know, streaming it and stuff. And I chose my living room as the best place to. I had to record a video for the Unspoken VR, so I did that, which is an awesome VR game if you guys haven't tried it. But I needed like standing area, and my office is just way too messy for that. So I basically like makeshift made my office out here, you know, using like one of those foldable like plastic things you get from like tables from Costco you can buy.
Yeah.
So I've just fucked with my setup a whole bunch, and I don't know what sounds normal anymore, but as long as you
Sounds
guys
fine,
say
yeah.
it's good.
Sounds fine. Sounds great. A lot of people are saying just buy new headphones or buy new pads. To buy the pads direct from Sennheiser is like $70 plus shipping. Like, why the fuck would I
Fucking
spend
do it.
$70 on some fucking ear pads when I could get a brand new
Write it off.
headset?
You won't.
I'm writing all this off. That's why I mean that's beyond the point. But why write off $70 fucking head pads? Like, or earphone pads? That just seems
My
pointless.
point is, you've been doing this for so long. I'm so surprised you're not at the point where you're just like fuck. Yes, I want. Just give me the thing that I want. This is what I do for a living. This will make me literally have less of a headache. I don't know. That's where I've been for a while.
I have been
maybe
there.
I'm
I
not-
just like discussing. I like discussing things before I buy them. I enjoy the conversation. It's one of my favorite things.
You're like, Max, I've already bought 2 of them. Shut up. I
It's-
just wanted to talk.
It's the inverse. It's the inverse process of watching a TV show or movie you really like and then wanting to talk about it a bunch beforehand. Like having that conversation about, well, you know, these ones sound like this and they have a higher bass rate. Like there's whole communities that are built around arguing the differences between 2 pairs of headphones. So you're in good company there. Like
Yeah, I know.
there's lots of people who are going to want to have that
I
conversation.
visit those boards a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I just see like these weird line graphs with like the peaks and all this shit.
Oh, you haven't even started to get into the like weird audiophiles who are like, let me upload a custom iTunes equalizer for you. So when you listen to this specific pair of headphones with this genre of music, it's exactly the right amount of like bass
Yeah.
at the various hertz. Yeah, oof, that's a
I
level of
don't-
nerd about headphones.
I'm
I don't-
like
I can fuck with
super
that.
amateur. I don't even consider myself an audiophile just because
I don't
know
either. Yeah.
enough, you know, like specific. Some people think that I know like a lot more about audio engineering and shit like that than I actually do know. I just know what I've learned through content creator. That's it. And I know I'm kind of picky with audio, but when you start specific hertz and like, oh yeah, these have like a range right here. If you just get it right in this range, this specific song, listen to this tune by Marvin Gaye. And I swear to God, Marvin Gaye. No, honestly, like I don't do that.
I did have when I was in college, my some teacher I forgot what class it was, but he brought in like a hi-fi player with like fucking $1,000 wood headphones and all this shit, and he let the class listen to him just to see what that was like, because you know not that many people are gonna be able to experience something like that. If I would probably buy a lot of that stuff if I could have everything sourced through that type of audio. I would probably buy a lot of that stuff. It sounds pretty fucking good.
Every time anybody goes on at any length about high quality audio equipment, I just think about that scene from A Clockwork Orange, where he's just like, Alec is just lying in his bed listening to Beethoven, and I'm like, yep. I mean, I guess if you wanted to be an antisocial weirdo and really, really get invested in audio equipment, sure. But like, it's less about being able to afford the equipment and more about the space in which to listen to it, which I think why headphones are such a popular thing right now.
Yeah.
Because most people can't buy like a huge ass hi-fi and be like, cool, I'm just going to blast the Ninth Symphony at full volume for my own enjoyment because your neighbors will die. And so having really good headphones, I think for the kinds of people that write headphone reviews, it's more about that. It's about being like, I'm going to listen to whatever album I love at the full volume and really get the experience. Whereas for us, it's like, can I wear a pair of headphones for 10, 12, 24 hours in a row, hear
Yeah.
the things that I want to hear, and not have it disintegrate on my head or like make me want to rip my own head off because
Yeah,
it's
that-
like comfort is a huge thing.
That was one of the things that he was saying is the wood headphones, they're actually not comfortable. After about 3 or 4 hours, they start to hurt.
Yeah.
So
Well, the
I
base
didn't- I
the
didn't
base
go home and buy
amount
it.
yeah, the base amount of time that an audiophile needs to listen to their headphones is one album, right? Like you put the headphones on, you sit in your easy chair, you drink your scotch, and you listen to, I don't know, Kenny Loggins or whatever. And
He had some
that's it.
Tool. He had Tool on vinyl. One of their I think it was like their second album. It was pretty good. It was pretty good, but not good enough for me to go drop about $2,000 on audio equipment that I would listen to about an hour of each week. So
Yeah, right.
I didn't do that.
Exactly. Yeah, I have a bunch of pairs of headphones, but these are the ones that get listened to because they're the ones that are attached to the rest of my streaming stuff. Like I have better headphones for listening to music, but honestly, the time that I have to just lay around and listen to Aphex Twin is very low.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
low right now.
That's true. That's true. Speaking of things that I've purchased, I bought a heart rate monitor. It's actually just a smartwatch, but the entire reason that I got it was for a heart rate monitor. I now know my resting, although I slept, it says my resting heartbeat is 59. That's pretty low. I guess that's because I slept. It's about like 68 or something. And when I get angry, it spikes up to 90. So that's interesting too. Do you have do you have an Apple Watch?
Yeah,
there?
I'm checking mine right now. My standing heart rate 18 minutes ago was 95 beats per minute.
Holy shit, that's fucking high, man.
105 right now.
Mine's 101 too. Shit. It's
Yeah,
Turns
spiked
I'll
out
check
playing
mine
role
real
playing
quick.
games is stressful.
Role play games is fucking crazy, man. I haven't worn a watch in probably 25 years though. It takes a lot to get used to.
Here's what's going to
Mine's
happen
saying
in
this
about
isn't a watch. This saying is this is a Canon thing I just put on my wrist.
Yeah.
So
in about 10 years, all of your favorite streamers are just going to die of a heart problems. So, enjoy us while we're here cuz that's not healthy.
Yeah.
I was
We're
gonna
doomed.
I can't remember what I was gonna say. Keep talking.
JP, you should get a heart rate overlay.
You're like you
Every
have
time
it.
you
It's right
roll-
there, and it's fucking
Oh
goes.
yeah, that'd be great, Dan. I should do that.
Every time you roll, like it shows on screen that when you get something really bad, it spikes up, or you get really
Yeah.
happy, it spikes up.
See, but then you know what would happen is chat would turn into doctors, and they'd be like,
Yes,
"JP,
they already
your heart
are.
rate is
Yeah.
not correct. Go to the doctor.
Listen,
With
chat,
that heart
the
rate,
thing
you're
is,
going to die very soon."
the reason that my heart rate is so high right now is because right before every show I do a bunch of cocaine, and that's what gets me through the day. All right. So if you have a problem, well, you come to my house. Come to my house and fight me, chat. Let's do it. Come on, come over. No, I'm fine. It's just I have a high standing heart rate. That's how it goes.
Does yours have? The reason I didn't get an Apple Watch is because they're fucking super expensive compared to all of them. Does yours have like the weather and everything? Can it like take in the weather and all that shit?
Like right now, my default face is like the next thing I have to do on my schedule, the time, the calendar. Like if I have a step meter, so like I measure if I've like walked enough in a day, the current temperature outside, and then because I take photos a lot, I keep the sun, like when the sun's going down, on my watch, so I can tell how much time I have before there's no more light outside.
Oh,
And you can customize all that shit, obviously, but
yeah.
I like it. I've had my Apple Watch since like shortly after the first iteration came out. I like it. It's not like gonna blow your mind in
Yeah.
terms of like sudden new technology, but it's like I don't have to have my phone to just casually glance down and see what my text messages are.
That's true.
Yeah.
I bought a Vivo Smart HR, which I think is a Garmin. Yeah, it's a Garmin product. Who I think Garmin's actually originally known for making GPS devices, which is kind of interesting that they've changed verticals into the watch business. So I also got it for monitoring sleep. That's some crazy shit. If you ever want to like see how much deep sleep and stuff you get, that's fucking super interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't really think about it. You're like, I went to bed at this time and I woke up at this time, and then you look at the data and you're like, oh God, I am not good at sleeping.
Yeah. I got your average of about 36% deep sleep last night, and I think it was a 9.5 hour block.
Yeah.
So that's fine. That's pretty
Nine and a
normal.
half hours. That's a lot. I get between 6 and 7 hours usually a night.
I can do that for about 2 or 3 days, and then I sleep for 12 hours plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go into hibernation after that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, that's a thing that I think for most people, there's this assumption that we need 8 hours of sleep or whatever. There's some human baseline that everybody is the same at. But I know people that need 10 hours of sleep a night. I know people that only need 5, and that's just I'm envious of those people. I'd love it if I only needed like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But
I want to say, I think it was some documentary where someone was saying they sleep 4 hours a night.
yeah.
And they've been doing that for years. And I was like, what? Like, how do you function on a daily basis with 4 hours of sleep? Are you just always like super fucking stressed out and just fueled by adrenaline and anxiousness? It's just, that's your life. You just don't sleep for fucking.
Let me throw it back to
4
my old
hours?
friend cocaina.
Yeah, I'd like, that's the only way I could function on that is if there was something to keep me awake.
Yeah.
That just seems fucking
it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and then inevitably, when discussing how much sleep people need and all that, the like Leonardo da Vinci thing comes up, where people are like, "Well, Leonardo da Vinci was awake for 2 hours, and then he slept for an hour, and then he was awake for 2 hours, and he slept for an hour."
Oh, I had a math teacher that did that.
Right. Yeah, and so that's like people have all these theories. It's like it's like dieting or any other like body normativity level thing where people just want to have something. They feel shit because. Yeah. That's how people feel, and they want to feel less shit. And so there are all these like different approaches to try to do that. And I mean, hey, if that two off, one on thing works for your sleep patterns and rock and roll, but nope.
It seems really hard to schedule anything or do anything at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Leonardo fucking da Vinci, it doesn't really matter, right? Where you're like, I'm gonna sculpt this thing. Apparently, he's Mario. I'm gonna sculpt this sculpture. I'm gonna draw the Mona Lisa. I'm gonna have a little nap, and then I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna go to the house of the Medici, drink some wine, and go back to bed. Yeah. So it is very much lifestyle dependent, and I think that's what's interesting about anybody who deviates from a standard kind of 9 to 5. You wake up several hours before work, you go to work, and you go to bed several hours after bed or after work, and then you have a weekend. Like for us, that's not the case, right? We're all working like every day unless we actively take a day off, and we can choose when to sleep. And for many of us, that's like I go to bed at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m, and I get up in the afternoon, and we have these like weird schedules, so we can be a little experimental about it. You could stream on a 2 off, 1 on like sleep awake schedule.
Totally, yeah.
You could do it. Wake up, play some Counter-Strike, go to bed for an hour. Wake up, play some Dota, go to bed for an hour. Like you could totally do that.
Good job.
Yeah.
Dan, how much do you sleep?
If I get less than 6, I'm a total like zombie the whole day. It just wrecks me. I have to get at least 6, preferably 8.
Okay. That's pretty simple. Max, what about you?
What about me?
How much do you sleep?
I try to go for at least 6 hours. I usually end up with like 7-ish. If I sleep in, it's like 8 or 9. You know what I mean?
Damn. Normal for me is about 8 to 9. If I sleep in, it's 12 plus. I sleep a lot.
Well, 12 plus, that's definitely something that happens, but I don't think that's like normal for me.
I do that about once
less
a week.
Normal.
I do that about once a week. Yeah.
That's probably like a weekend, at least a Saturday or Sunday. I'll be like, sleeping in.
Yeah.
Sorry, doors and stuff are open, and
so is that...
it's like the worst timing because like I have Junk King people, people come in and just like haul away trash and all that stuff, and they came right before the fucking show started. There's like a huge 2-hour window.
That's a brand. Is Junk King.
Junk King.
Junk King.
In the greater Bay
At some point
Area.
during the show, they're just going to come over and pick Max up and carry him off, and we'll be done. That'll be it. That's the end of the show.
What?
But apparently they're all done now, so hopefully it's fine.
What are you getting?
Apparently sync is good, so we're good. Everything's good. Everything's good. We're having a great day.
Yeah, it's great.
Everyone's having a great day.
It's great. What?
That's great. That's great.
What are you giving away that's junk? What's junk in your house? What are the Junk Kings picking up?
Oh, it's like because we're preparing to move to Chicago and stuff like that. So throwing out all sorts of trash, and like there's like an old mattress pad or something like that we're like, all right, fuck it. We're not going to use that. It's it's that thing where you're just like, okay, this is still workable and kind of usable. It's not gross or anything bad. I threw away 2 perfectly good wrapped box springs that were fine because I was supposed to. There's a story behind that. They fucked up on IKEA's end, so I ended up having these 2 box springs that were just like right but wrong for what I had currently, and then I'm just like, rather than trying to solve that whole thing that I should have solved a year ago, I just decided to chuck it. So that and like my old computer chair, things like that. I'm sure this is really entertaining. What stuff is Max throwing away?
No, people love hearing about that stuff. You know, they want to know.
Yeah,
They want to know if
The
they
old-
should come
old comforters,
stand outside your house and get
clothes.
all your stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what this is. You're just letting
No, it
everybody.
belongs to
what
the
can I
Junk
get?
King now. You have to
That's
deal
true.
with the
You,
Junk King.
you deal with the Junk King if you want my shit. All right.
I just
That's a
imagine
great
the Junk
name.
King, right? The Junk King is that guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the like rat dude that lived in the sewers. Not Splinter, but you remember that bad guy from Ninja Turtles cartoon? And he like, God, I think they made him just so they could have the action figure. He's like the third boss in Turtles in Time. That guy's the Junk King. He lives in a layer of Max's discarded mattresses.
I'm trying to think
I'm
who that could
I'm writing
be.
that down. He's going in the game.
I'm trying to think of that guy's
Junk
name.
King.
Rat King.
It was something terrible.
The Rat King.
Yeah,
was the
it
Rat
might
King.
have just been like Rat King. Yeah.
I think it was Rat King. The Junk King is Dogger or Dooger. That's probably true. Dodger is the Junk King. Maybe so.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
that's the thing, and that ties us right back to that conversation we were having before about headphones, right? In that, like, for a lot of stuff, when you buy it, by the time you're ready to replace it with a fixed version of the thing, there is a better version already, right? Very little
Yeah.
that we interact with, like as a peer group of people who are highly like technically tuned in. Very little is going to be as good when it dies as it was when we bought it, right? Like if I buy a TV now, and God permits me to keep it for 4 years. In 4 years, I'm not going to want the same TV, and certainly not going to want to try to fix that TV. I'm going to want a new one because there may be a whole new standard of high definition by then. And so it's like we end up in this very, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think that we end up in this very disposable environment where this is why it's good to have less tech savvy friends around you, so you can feel less bad when you buy that new TV and you can be like, here, you don't even have a television. Take this one for me. It's free. Look how beneficent I am. Enjoy your free 720p television that I bought 6 years ago. And you go to their house 5 years later, and you're like, wow, it's still going. Look at it. It's
It's still there.
Yeah, I felt pretty bad over the weekend. I went to my cousin's graduation ceremony, and she texted me later that night and said, "Hey, I think I'm going to get a computer. Would love or a laptop. Would love your help finding one." I'm like, "Oh, great. Go to the wire cutter. Find a laptop. It's decent."
Go to the wire cutter.
Yeah,
Naturally.
Yeah, go to the wire cutter. Figure out which one. So because they do all the work that I would have done, not 60 hours of testing, of course. Go over there, find it, look at it. Oh, that looks good. I'll tell her to buy that one. The next day, she's like, "Hey, I got a laptop." I'm like, "No, what the fuck? What the fuck did you do? What'd you buy?" And she's like, "Oh, I bought this one." And I'm just like, "Well, it doesn't
It
matter.
was dog shit, wasn't it?
I'm not gonna tell her it's a bad one." She got it with her own money. I'm gonna let her experience that and have her own fun with it. She probably thinks it's the fucking best thing in the world, and it doesn't matter if it's good or not because she likes it. And that's how I went about my Saturday.
But the problem with that though is that if someone that is close to you who thinks of you as an expert in the field of technological whatever, if they buy a substandard device of any kind, shitty phone, crappy laptop, bad TV or whatever, you know, as soon as there's a problem with that motherfucker,
Oh, they're
you're
coming to
getting a
me.
phone call.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like,
Yeah.
JP, my TV, I can't. It's a smart TV. It's not working. I can't get Netflix. Can you help me? And you're like, trying to fix it with their
See,
janky,
but you know
shitty
what I
remote.
do is I say, "Yeah, you bought a shitty one. Go to the wire cutter, buy a brand new one, and get that one, and you won't have problems." And they're like, "Oh, okay." That's what I've done now.
Join me in my beautiful paradise. Simply
okay.
discard those things that
He goes with the quickest line of tech,
Yeah.
tech help.
I
It's
just
like,
get
hey,
straight to the
that
point.
sucks. Get a new
Because
one.
there's no, why would I fucking fuck around with like, "Oh yeah, I mean it's a pretty good one. It might be this." I'm just gonna be blunt and say you fucked up. You made a dumb purchase. Buy this instead. It's gonna be really good and last a long time. And they're like, "Okay." So that's where I'm at in life. I just skip through all the bullshit. Because why would I spend that time potentially getting in an argument when I can just skip past the argument, call him an idiot, tell him to buy that thing, and then we're good. And then the conversation ends.
Right, and then it becomes just their problem.
But then, well, I don't know. It depends on the family, I guess. But it depends on whether or not they want you to help them set up said new purchase. Like, there's nothing on it. Can you help me? Like, isn't there some antivirus? No, everything comes bundled with bullshit antivirus. You're fine. Like,
Yeah. I definitely have the problem of making I've gotten better about it, but if someone asks me what they should buy, and it's like in the realm of computers and whatnot, I'll go for the most complicated way because I know what I'm doing, and then I'll realize after they've purchased it all that, oh God, I have to go do something to make this
I
work.
would absolutely love to have Aaron as a guest in this conversation right now.
No, that's exactly what
Aurelian in.
that's exactly where I'm going to. Is a perfect example is I rebuilt her 2 PC streaming setup, and she's rearranging her entire like computer room basically. She got a uplift desk and all that stuff, and it gets her on Saturday, blah blah blah. But she's like, I don't know if I can move my desk because you built all this, and I have absolutely no idea where anything goes if I take it apart. I'm like, yeah, that's a real problem. Don't move anything. And she's like, but I just bought this fucking
move
desk.
it ever. Don't ever move it.
I was like, look, just take very detailed photos and make sure you know where everything's plugged in before you unplug it, and then you'll be good. So probably like Saturday afternoon, I'll be dealing with that shit. I'll be on FaceTime, telling her where to plug in everything. And I didn't learn my lesson. It's not that bad.
You made your bed.
Yeah. It's just troubleshooting shit from that far away is a fucking nightmare. It's one of the worst things.
Well, because normally with troubleshooting, like if you're there, if you encounter any sort of actual like weird, like that's weird, that's irregular, you know, like that shouldn't be working. You are there to just do it yourself. And there's something about doing it yourself when it comes to troubleshooting tech stuff, especially when you're dealing with somebody who doesn't know as much about the setup.
Yeah.
It's input delay, right? It's input delay. It's like if you're there and you've got 15 things you can try. You can be like, all right, I'm going to turn the gain up and down. I'm going to turn this slider up and down. I'm going to do these things. You can do it in a span of 30 seconds. Be like, yep, nope, no difference. Yep, okay. Whereas if you're telling somebody, you're like, all right, find slider 1. It's on the left. No, left of that, left. Okay, that one. Now up. Is it better? You don't know? You can't tell? Okay, down? Different? No? Okay, find the gain knob. Right, like if you're doing it yourself, you can just the only conversation happening is with you, and that's at the speed of thought. But once someone else gets involved, it's like good.
And that just invites conflict, and especially if you're in like a relationship, fuck that, man, that sucks. Because you're not trying to be a dick, you know, but you're just like, I can do this faster just because I'm more familiar with this setup. You know what I mean? It's not that I'm not trying to teach you; it's just you want to get this going quickly. I'm trying to help you get this done as quickly as possible.
Right.
And you know, therein lies tension and like, well, don't say it that way. I'm like, well, I'm telling you, it's right there. Like,
yeah, it's hard. It's hard on both sides of that because like you feel like a jackass if you're the one that doesn't know what you're doing. Where you're like, I wish you could just do this, or I could do it myself and not bother you because I know we both hate this.
Yeah.
But like, it needs to get done, and I am helpless, and we just hate each other. So let's get through this. Yeah, it's traumatizing. It really is.
Yeah. So that'll be my life Saturday. And probably pretty early Saturday. So I'm not going to get my 8 hours of sleep. I'll be on 6. I'm going to be grumpy. The fucking watch is going to tell me that my heart rate's high. It's going to be a great, it's just probably going to have new headphones though. So maybe it'll balance out. Maybe it'll balance out by then.
But as we know with all audio equipment, the new headphones will introduce some other glitch in the rest of your audio situation.
So I looked at the fucking headphones. Apparently the cable's only 1.5 meters, which is about 4.5 feet.
Don't talk meters. Who uses meters?
They do.
I mean,
it's apparently a European brand.
The rest of the world, I guess, you know.
It's like
this
5.5.
cable,
Yeah.
I think this cable's much longer than that for these. I've kind of grown to like this cable. It's nice having this extra link so that I can like go over there and do stuff.
You can.
Texas man falls in love with cable. News at 11.
Yeah.
It's true though. You get used to the gear you have.
Yeah.
It's like that.
I'm
like that with cameras where I'm like, this camera's old and it's not working the way I want it to anymore. And I know there are better ones and I bought this new one and I like it and stuff, but it's going to take me some time to fall in love with it because I don't know where all the buttons are. I don't know how this thing
cameras works. And you taking pictures. Your Instagram feed is full of so many like just like artsy
things. A lot of artsy
I've wanted to take I've had this idea of just taking the pictures that you've made and take the weirdest ones and then just like narrate over them and just make it this weird fucking thing. They're nice pictures. They're very nice pictures. And I'm by no means saying like, you know, like, oh, Adam with this weird shit. They're actually really nice pictures. But some of them, I look at them, I'm like, I could make something really fucking weird with this shit.
Do it. Make it happen.
This is one of my favorite. I'm looking at headphones, by the way. One of my favorite things on the Q&A thread here for this, the Sennheiser HD6. I was trying to find the cable length of it. Are these as good as Beats by Dre? The response from well, it doesn't matter who it's from. Beats by Dre ... the Dane Cook of headphones. That's pretty good. There's one that's just ha 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 for like 500 characters as response. It's good. I like it.
The I mean, think about Beats as a like they're a successful business not just because they're Beats by Dre and because they're so omnipresent. It's that the way those headphones are engineered, they sound good for the kind of music
yeah.
that people want, right? Like they're incredibly bass heavy.
Yeah.
And if you put them on and you listen to like an EDM song, you're gonna be like, "Yep, I can feel my skull vibrating. Cool, these are probably good headphones."
Yep.
They're tuned to a very specific thing. Whereas like high-end headphones, if they're properly like equalized out and everything, what you end up hearing is the all of the other problems in your system, right? You hear your bad cable, you hear the shitty power, you hear the fact you're listening to an MP3 that's compressed at 128 kbps. Like, and I think JP, you'll probably agree with me that this is the problem with like streaming gear too, where you get one nice thing and then it makes all the other stuff the problem, and then you have to upgrade that stuff. And then it ends up that you're like, well, cool, I've just replaced all of my equipment, and by the time you get there, you're like, well, I need new monitors now.
Yep.
Right, like it's a never.
You're talking to somebody who has like fucking 8 monitors. I don't even know how many monitors he's at this point. You look like you're like a dispatch control person.
That's true.
JP.
That's why
they don't even have that many monitors.
That's actually what RollPlay is. It's the same thing as a dispatch control person. 100%. Yeah. Just monitoring all that stuff. This fucking cable is 3 meters long. It's literally double the length. I can't buy those headphones. They're not going to be bought. God fucking damn it. That ruins everything. That's fucking RollPlay already. All right. Let's just get this shit started.
Right. Well, thus concludes another end of the cranky old men grumbling about stuff podcast. Thanks for coming, everybody. This episode brought to you by Squarespace. So
fucking 104 on. God, thanks a lot. 104 fucking beats a minute.
See, now he's just going to get fucking stressed because he can monitor that his heart rate is irregular. He just added another step.
110. We got to start. I got to move.
Shit, JP, you're freaking me out. I'm at 113 now. Fuck. All right, deep breath, everybody. Just breathe in.
And I'm at, I don't know, I'm blissfully ignorant. I'm good.
Breathe out. Breathe in. All right, everybody relax. Here we go. Nobody have a hernia. Okay, right. So let's get started. So the end of the last episode was sort of the party showing their new colors, right? Was turning your back on the fat frog as the signs of drastic change in the neighborhood of the station when Cazalo Station was starting to show itself. So you've been working here for the tower for some time, following goals seemingly disconnected from one another, right? One day you will stop a merchant from shipping his goods out of Cazalo just overnight. Another day you have to murder someone in the street, right? It's been several months of hard work for no apparent clear purpose, right? Each goal followed by another disconnected from the last. And so when we caught up with you last, you had ousted a troll gangster who had been running a criminal organization in Cazalo, though Tower knows why. But the job is done, and that's how your life has been the last little while. So the three of you left the fat frog behind, and I think that the episode starts not in the grimy green smoke interior, the sort of darkness of the Cazalo neighborhood, but in a much more overgrown sort of pastoral environment. We see, I think, a marble statue, perhaps depicting some ancient royalty, but now long covered with moss and thick vines. We pan across this to a garden, a rich palatial garden, but the whole garden seems overgrown and wild. It seems to have reverted to some natural state. You can see the hedges kind of sprouting thorns, and throughout the garden, this sign that no human footsteps have seen this place in some time, or else unnatural growth has taken place. And as we pan across the garden, new colors sort of become evident to us. Right, the garden is initially just a lot of green, the gray of stone, the brown of the bark of the trees that make up this garden, this park, and then suddenly there's a splash of red as we pan across what looks like a court, a hexagonal-shaped sort of stone gazebo, surrounded by a ring of reddish orange orchids. And they, like the rest of the garden, have grown wild. They're growing into each other, creating a sort of wall around this ancient-looking stone gazebo. And as we pan across the ring of red flowers, we can see in the gazebo, sort of basking in the shade, a family of huge wolves. They're varying in color from gray to black, dark and ominous looking, huge sharp teeth. And you can see that they are chewing on, or at least one of them, the largest, is chewing on a bone. And as it sort of looks up, and we can see its face, we can see that the bone it's chewing on is actually the cracked half of a human skull. It's got tooth marks on it, and the sort of slaver of the wolf covering it. And the last thing that we see before we cut scene is the eyes of the wolf. They're strange. There's something not right about them. Their color, their shape. It's hard to put a finger on it because we flash out of that scene so quickly. But the wolf's eyes become clear in the shot, and then we snap to Berg. And Berg, where are you when the tower grants you this vision? Where are you sitting? Where are you? Like, where did you go? I guess set the scene for me here, Max. Where is it? Whatever it is, you've just been like gapped out, staring into the middle distance. But what do we see around Berg when we cut to you?
I think Berg is in his bedroom, wherever he happens to be residing, near around to Zalo Station, and he's just zoned the fuck out, sitting on his bed or chair, anything in his initial area there, and it looks like he's just staring at his hands, but he's not. He's just not there, not present at all. Like you said, someone could just come up and be like that, and it wouldn't. They'd have to, a good few swipes in front of his hand and like smack him or something like that, or tap him, pretty hardly in order to get him roused out of it.
So Ramus or Enoch or both of you, which of you notice Berg kind of having this reaction?
Where are we at when this is happening?
That's a great question. You have no base of operations, having turned your back on the fat frog. So we can talk about where you might have gone.
Well, I'm probably off talking to someone, trying to get us into an inn or something like that. So
is there like an inn somewhere nearby that we could have gone to, or in a neighboring neighborhood or something?
Berg doesn't even necessarily. We don't even. If we haven't found a place, he could be at like a fucking tea shop or something. Or like we were just getting noodles or some shit like that. That probably makes more sense narratively wise.
Okay, sure, yeah. So
he's just sitting, not present where he's at right now. He's just zoned the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd be at a sort of a cafe, like on a plaza, in one of the closer areas to the station itself. I think we see around you tables, wooden tables with benches, and varying folks sitting at these tables. I think with a quick look around of the camera, we can see that most of them are halflings. There are maybe a few dwarves at one of the table, and maybe there's the remnants of a meal in front of you. And Ramus, you and Berg are still at the table, and we can hear Enoch elsewhere, maybe having a conversation with someone, but he's outside the present scene. So Ramus, you're the one that notices Berg has just kind of maybe mid-sentence trailed off. And he's been like that for, I don't know, 45 seconds, a minute, maybe.
I'm probably off talking to someone, still trying to do something. So Ramus is the one that's there, I would think.
All right, I'm looking at him like, Berg.
Still nothing.
Sit there, nothing.
And just to recap, you said there was like a ruined area, overgrown, hexagonal, gazebo sort of thing with wolves.
Yeah, it doesn't look so much ruined as because it's still in shape, right? The columns still stand, the roof seems intact, but it's overgrown, as though these thorny branches and red flowers sprung up. What's your nature bonus right now, Berg? Do you have nature trained? Is that one of your skills?
I don't know if it's trained. I think I want to say it is, but let me check it. Let me pick up the sheet.
Okay.
Nature's 2. It is trained.
It is? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you might, once you snap out of it, if you had a minute to think, you might be able to recognize the flowers. But yeah, they were the only kind of distinct plant life.
Okay. And it was a family of wolves that looked kind of weird, kind of off.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah.
For the most part, is the main thing. They're just giant wolves. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Ramus, if you're trying to get Berg's attention.
Yeah, I think I used thaumaturgy to knock your noodles onto your plate, onto your lap to wake you up.
Asshole.
What do you do? Just like knock the thing
Wake
over?
up!
Messing with a man's noodles while he's in his. Yeah, so you do that and.
What? Why did you do that to my noodles?
What the hell's wrong with you? You try to think again?
Very funny. No. I saw a vision of sorts.
Oh God, here we go again. What did you see?
There was a pack of enormous wolves. Terrifying. Chewing on bones. Where? I'm, not sure.
Was there something special about these wolves or just random wolves?
I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of wolves in the world. I don't know. This isn't really helping us. Is there something about the place?
I think at this point, I turn around from whoever I'm talking to and start walking back to the table.
Okay.
Come up and see Berg's noodles are all on his lap. Kind of look down at that looking Berg and say, you having some issues there, pal?
Yes.
And then he stares at Ramus.
I look over at Ramus and roll my eye. You want me to get you some more?
I cannot be held responsible for strong wind, okay?
I didn't blame you. I was just asking if you want some more noodles, Berg.
Yes, I would.
Okay, that was quite dramatic. I'll be right back. I head to wherever I go buy more noodles and leave them to continue the conversation about the wolf.
Okay. All right. So you head back into the kind of main the main room, where the kitchen is, and and I think there's a bunch of people inside as well. It's maybe late in the afternoon. The day shift in the brass mines is over, and so there's mostly like miners and workers and stuff out in the in this neighborhood right now. So you move your way through them towards the counter.
Okay. Are oh god, I forgot their names. Are Lamech, Idris, and Naba eating at the table as well already?
Yeah. I mean, I assume they're with you
Yeah.
most of the time, unless you tell me otherwise.
Okay.
So.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just going to grab some. I'm standing in line if I have to, if there's a line to get noodles. Try not to make a big deal about it.
Okay. Yeah. So when you first came in and got food, it was with Berg and Ramus and your friends. You all came to the counter together. But now by yourself, you're having a hard time getting the attention of the man at the counter. It's a halfling, like an older guy, probably if he was a human, he'd probably be in his like 60s or 70s. Graying hair up in a top knot. He's got an apron on, and he's leaned on the counter and he's talking to a girl, a halfling girl, and they're just having a conversation, kind of like casually talking. He doesn't look busy, but you like walk up and he doesn't even look at you.
Okay, I look to the left, look to the right, and stare right at him and knock on the whatever panels in front of me.
He just kind of gestures dismissively at you and says something in the gravelly language that they speak to each other.
Do I know what language they're speaking to each other? Because I speak Orc.
It's definitely not orc. They're halflings. It's probably halfling.
Oh, fuck. I don't speak halfling. I speak dwarf. Shit. How much is it usually for noodles? Like a silver?
Like a silver piece.
Okay. I just put
20 gold.
Yeah, I just put a silver up and start like twiddling with it on the wood. Say, can I get some noodles, sir?
He just continues to ignore you.
Is there anyone else serving noodles? Is he serving noodles to anyone else?
No.
Is there anyone that is seems very happy eating the noodles.
I don't know if there's anyone like super excited about. There's no one like screaming at their noodles about how excited they are, but they're just kind of like people sitting around eating together.
Okay. I just want to go up to the closest halfling that's not those two guys that seems to be enjoying their noodles.
Okay, so you just walk over to a table. There's a bunch of, say like just like 8 of them sitting around a table. Good thing about having a halfling restaurant is you can fit more patrons inside. Yeah, there's 8 of them at the table. And there's a bunch of different dishes and like a tray of spices and stuff on the table, and they're talking and laughing in their language. And yeah, they look like a little like rough around the edges. They've just come up from the Undercity, and they have that distinct kind of like brass chemical like smell of the processing machinery, like the equipment that they use. And you walk over. Now, are you just like strolling up to the table, or are you kind of like
No,
describe your approach?
I approach in a is trying to appear as what's the word I'm trying to say? As easy to talk to, non-confrontational, casual as possible. I'm not trying to look like I'm better than anyone else. I'm not condescendingly getting on their level and kneeling down.
I'm
just
very non-threatening.
Yeah, I just walk up as calmly as possible, and pardon the interruption. Can I ask a favor of you, please?
Make a persuade. Actually, no, make a charisma saving throw.
Okay.
That's more, I think, more on point here. You're not trying to persuade anybody of anything. You're just trying to be like non-threatening.
Sure. 21.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So you walk up and you're like, can I see you? And then they all kind of like stop their conversation. Like a few of them like roll their eyes. And, like they turn, and the closest one to you, yeah, he looks up at you, and he's like slurps loudly at the noodle he was in the middle of eating. So like looks at you, chewing it, kind of cocks an eyebrow.
Oh man, that looks really good. Hey, can you do me a favor? The guy working the bar won't talk to me. I'm just trying to get noodles after a hard day's work. You know how it is. But he won't give me a light of day. So I was seeing if you could help. Just trying to get some food here, sir.
The halfling eyeballing you gives you a look up and down. How are you dressed?
I mean, we probably haven't changed since we left that inn. So I'm wearing a breastplate. I'm in my normal battle attire.
But do you look like nice? Like I know you're from a noble house. Are you dressed well?
I specifically tell Lamech, or rather Idris, my major domo, to not polish the breastplate too much to look better than anyone else. I'm trying to fit in with the plebes, as it were.
All right. Well, let's have you make a disguise check then. Let's see how good that goes.
Deception, is that what that is?
There's like a disguise kit.
I don't have the kit. What is that?
Yeah, if you don't disguise it, it'll just be a charisma roll without your proficiency modifier.
Charisma saving roll, or should I just roll D20 plus? Or no, can I? Oh, I can click charisma.
You can just click charisma. Yeah.
10.
Okay. So the halfling kind of like looks you up and down, and he says something to his friends, and there's like a little chuckle at the table. And he twirls his chopsticks and then sticks them in the bowl of noodles in front of him. He wipes his hands off on his shirt and stands up on the stool. So he's like eye level with you.
Yeah.
Stands up on his stool and kind of squints at you and like leans in. And he says, "Hard day's work? What kind of work do you do?" And then he says a word in halfling that you don't understand, like you don't know the context for it. Just sounds like gibberish. But when he says it, the rest of the halflings kind of smirk, or like you hear one kind of stifle a chuckle.
I look at him and kind of look at all the other halflings laughing and laugh as well and join and say, "You know what? Don't worry about it. It's just noodles. Have a good day, sir." I turn around and start walking outside.
Okay, so you turn to walk outside, and he sits back down, and he kind of we catch a glimpse of him kind of putting his hands out to his friends, like, see, I told you, like he's just proved a point. And they all kind of like chuckle, and they have the effect of a group of people who have just been reminded of a thing that they already knew was true. And so you head back outside. And while you're on your way, Ramus and Berg, what are the two of you doing?
We're still trying to figure out his vision and like what it means, because
Mm-hmm.
I think by now we understand this is probably our next assignment. We're used to this kind of
I guess Berg slowly
weird-
goes through picking apart the. See, the thing about Berg describing things is he doesn't know the word gazebo. He doesn't know what the fuck a gazebo is. You know?
Yeah.
So it's just like when I'm asked to describe something, it's like
It's a structure.
It's like
Yeah.
a child trying to explain chemistry or something, you know.
he
Gazebo,
knows the
it's
word
like
structure though.
it's like a stone
Knows that.
tent, I guess. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ramus, the key things here are the strange-eyed wolves, the gazebo, the overgrown garden, and then the flowers, and that's kind of the only real. Yeah.
Well, okay, gazebo, wolves, flowers. Could you see? Were you in the city or were you out in the wilderness? Do you remember?
It wasn't in the city, right?
It was. I mean,
It was?
it looked like it didn't look like the wilderness. It looked like a park or a garden.
Okay, that's the distinction. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess Berg like thinks back for a sec.
Not the wilderness. Still in city like park or something. Overgrown though.
We'll have to ask around then. Maybe someone recognizes this garden or someplace, gazebo that's abandoned somewhere. I don't know. I don't
Maybe.
recognize it.
You said the flowers that Berg could maybe pick out the flowers if he, you know. I mean, obviously now he'd
Yeah.
be
Do you want
trying
to
to like focus on
make
it.
a
Yeah.
nature check?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, because you're like you're racking your brain for like what did
Anything. I mean, any clues, you know.
Yeah. Sure.
So,
Nice.
what did I roll?
17.
You got a 17, so I think you do recognize them. You're gonna have to tell me how Berg knows this, but yeah, you recognize the flowers. They're blood lilies. They're a kind of a spherical shaped red flower that has a very distinct look to them. They're fairly rare. Why do you recognize them?
I would say that every now and then, when he was a slave, they would take like a group of like maybe 15 or 20 slaves that had to, you know, move to like an area to grab supplies to bring back to the camp. And along this trail, it was a little bit longer of a journey. And along this trail, there was a patch of like blood lilies in a certain part. And Berg always remembered kind of like staring at them as like the one pleasant thing to look at.
Right.
along the way.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So you don't know. You recognize the flower. It's an ornamental flower. It doesn't have any particular things that like tweak your knowledge there with a nature roll. There may be like additional or further symbolism or something to them, but the blood lily as a flower, you recognize it as such.
Yeah. I think Berg goes on to describe, you know, about the blood lilies and things like that. Like,
It's a fairly pretty flower, I'd say. Maybe people can tell us where they grow.
All right, so we have to kill a murderous gazebo. Got it.
Yes,
All right.
it is what the tower wants.
Maybe
he
the
stares
gazebo.
like at him, kind of like, Berg, make joke.
Oh, was that humor? How cute. Aw.
Then it goes
Well-
into just like, all right, fuck you.
Yeah, and I think that's when Enoch, when you get back.
Yeah, I guess join back and you guys either fake laughing or laughing, and
There's tension in the air. There's some tension there.
yeah,
It's tense.
yeah. I rejoin the conversation. Look at Berg and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, buddy. They didn't want to serve me inside, so I apologize. But you can have my noodles if you want. I'm not that hungry." Reach over to where I was
It's
sitting.
okay.
No, no,
All right.
I'm done. It's fine.
Thank you for trying.
Sit back down. So, where are we headed next?
Enoch, how familiar are you with this city? Like, I don't know if I've ever asked you. Like, how familiar are you with the streets and stuff?
Well, I mean, it depends where you're asking. The city's kind of big. I know some places like the back of my hand. I know other places like the back of your hand.
Do you
Right.
happen to know where, I don't know, where blood lilies grow in this city?
Do I need to make a roll for that, Adam?
Yeah. Yeah. Make a history roll.
Okie dokie. 8.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, did your family have like a house, like a gardener or whatever? You had somebody to handle this stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So probably not something you would have ever dealt with directly.
yeah. I look at him and say, typically I'm not the flower folk. We had someone else manage that at the estate, so no, never heard of that. Probably red though, being blood and all.
How about parks with gazebos that are just left abandoned and overgrown?
Would I know if there's different places in the city that have different building types, architecture,
Yeah, I mean
and
the
whatnot?
city is huge. So you can make a history roll to recognize like, an overgrown garden or park, but it's gonna be very difficult.
6.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like I think what you're getting here, what you're picking up, and I don't know, you can play this however, but Ramus is being a bit of a bumpkin, right? Like this is someone who shows up from what you perceive to be a small town in like New York, is like, hey, do you know if there's any grass around here?
Yeah,
Is there? Can you? Like he just doesn't he doesn't get the scope of how big the city of Brass is.
yeah. Okay, so I look at Ramus and Ramus, I think you fail to understand just how big this city is, and I don't mean this offensively or anything, but if we started walking right now to try to get out of the city on the opposite side, we wouldn't make it. We'd have to stop. So I don't know too much about the city except for where I'm from. So no, gazebos exist, but I don't know specifically where. I'm sure one of the other families has gazebos. It's a hoity-toity structure. You don't just hang out in a gazebo if you're a nobody.
It's true. It's true. Gazebos are only for the rich.
Well, do you know any? Sorry, I was going to your ex. Do you know anyone?
Like, are you trying to make fun of me,
Well.
or
Do y'all think we could find that there gazebo?
I say, where's the gazebo at?
Yeah, I'll turn into Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah.
Well, do you know any fellers that would know about the area better than you?
Well, I'm sure there's some government mandate guides for dignitaries coming across other parts of the world we could probably talk to, but apart from that, we're going to have to pay, I would imagine. I look towards Idris, and Idris, do you know anyone that would do something like that?
Maybe. Yeah. The thing about these guys, like, is they're like mechanically they're just an addition to your character.
Right.
So like they don't have their own skills or ability to like do anything except like maybe allow you to make rolls. And I think I don't know, like none of these guys is your gardener, and they're predominantly just knowledgeable about taking care of you.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I think
I'm more speaking to if they would know anyone that would know the city, not necessarily
Ye-
gardening or.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think that it just probably reminds you that there is a civic like a civic bureau. The city library contains information about all of the buildings and structures that have been built and constructed and deconstructed in the city. You may want to search there.
Okay.
Or if you're not interested in going directly to the library, there's always city guides available in the various districts, but you'd have to know where to begin. There.
Okay, so I look again towards Ramus. Well, we got two options. We can go the safe way, and well, the safe-ish way. Try to talk to someone from the ruling court, or we can look for a back channel and try to find someone that Doesn't necessarily work for the government, but they'll do work for coin.
Well, that sounds good to me. We've got to find this gazebo overrun with blood lilies and some crazy wolf thing. I don't know.
Is that the next? I start by looking at Ramus when I say this, but then finish at Bergen. Is that the next place we got to go? Did you get word? Whatever it is that happens.
The tower's not very keen on letters or clarity. So, and I look up in the sky as I say that. So we got to kind of figure this out on our own.
Okay.
It works in mysterious ways, but I would say, yes, we should search for this place.
All right. Well, finish those noodles up, and I guess we'll start doing that today.
Okay. So I guess that's the thing. You say finish those noodles up, and then we fade out. So let's grab it right there.
All right, cool. Take our first break. Still got 3 hours left to go here on Court of Swords. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back with more.